Hey there, it's April with the Love and Loss Project. I'm just taking a couple minutes to respond to an email question that I had. And the question was about how do you deal with differences when you and your partner operate really differently when you're coping with grief after loss? And that is something that I think that we all deal with in so many different ways and form because the reality is we each do have a really unique system. So the tips that I'm going to share might feel useful to you. They might not fit. And again, I don't know the full details of your story and circumstance because it was just a bit of an email. So feel free to adapt this as it fits to your circumstance. But here's what I want to offer you. First, I want to tell you a little story about me. So I love dark chocolate. I love dark chocolate. And because I love it so much, that is something that I often include when I'm giving gifts to other people. Because inherently, part of me assumes that because I love it so much, other people must really enjoy it too. And if they just tried it, they would find it's fantastic, and that would probably bring them a lot of enjoyment and pleasure. And we actually operate the same way in our relationships all the time without even really realizing it. We tend to try to take care of our partner in the ways that we are craving for our own self. And when it gets into grief and loss, that can be really, really challenging for many reasons. And one of the reasons is this: grief is a moving landscape. When I was dealing with some of the earlier stages of my loss, and even still at times now, there were times when people would say, what do you need? And I would say, I don't even know, because my needs would change so much by the day. One day I might have been craving more conversation about my little one and been desperate to just hear her name out loud. Another day I might have been totally overwhelmed by that, and maybe I just wanted to completely ignore and avoid the whole world. And that's my own complicated system. So add on top of that this layer of somebody else's when we're trying to match up the way that our system is changing and to get that to line up with how our partner's ever changing system is always moving. And that's a whole lot of challenge, right? So this is what's happening beneath the surface every day in our relationships. So what I would encourage you to do is take a step back in thinking about that example of the dark chocolate. Ask yourself and try to explore, what is my partner's really good intention here? So often when I work with couples, when we actually kind of dig through some of the fights and some of the issues that got really challenging between people, it's actually really good intentions that get misconstrued and that don't line up with what the other person needs, right? My intention to give someone dark chocolate is only really a fantastic gift if that's exactly what that partner, what that other person is craving at that time. If that other person has just gone on a diet, my really lovely gift of dark chocolate has now actually totally sabotaged their new goal, right? So this is how it works in our relationships all the time. So try to take a step back. What is your partner's really good intention here? How are they possibly trying to protect you with this action that they're doing? The other thing is to know that there really is not a right or wrong. Should we have the baby's belongings still out? Should they be all put away? There is no right or wrong, but this tension does put up a bit of a spotlight on the fact that you and your partner might want to consider having a really gentle, right, really conscious conversation about what is your household system and plan right now. And keeping in mind that that's probably going to change a bit for each person by the day. But for right here, right now, and for this holiday season, how do you want your baby's memory preserved, talked about? How do you want space to be made or sheltered in your home, in your conversations, when the family is doing their Christmas toasts, right? How do you want your baby to be maintained or protected here? And keep in mind that as the baby's parents, you are the protector of your little one's memory. In the same way that if your little one was here, present day, you would be the one that would be letting other people know what is okay ways to interact with your baby. You would be letting them know to wash their hands first, or what toys they could play with, or what was appropriate and not. You have that same responsibility even though your little one is not here anymore. But the first thing is that you and your partner need to get explicit about what your position is and why. So, what are some of the fears? So, you had mentioned that your partner was a bit concerned that other people would be depressed, or that having these things around was actually adding to your depression. So, if that's the case, this is hard to do, but I think these conflicts are also a moment for us to kind of look at the mirror that's being held up for us. Is there any truth to that? And so, what I mean by that is that it sounds like your partner possibly is a little bit concerned, and I don't know if this is the case or not, because obviously this isn't a genuine, real conversation. But is your partner concerned that you're not really doing okay, or that maybe you're going to get pulled really far deep into this? And if that's the case, then what can you do to help reassure your partner that you are going to be okay? So maybe this is a time for the two of you to consider couples counseling. I'm a huge fan of couples counseling and counseling in general. And obviously, I'm a therapist myself, so I'm a bit biased. But I really think of going for a therapy session the same way I think about going into the dentist for cleaning for my teeth or taking my car into the oil change. This is just good self-care stuff. So I think the more that we can intervene with things early, then the less damage and real wear and tear that we create. So maybe this is a good time to think about getting extra support for yourself and for you and your partner to go together, because I think that can be a really positive opportunity for you two to have some of these hard conversations in a way that's a little bit safer and a little bit easier. Because it sounds like right now, both of you have got into this place where we're really, really worried about going there, right? We get really kind of nervous about even having these conversations because we don't want to end up in a big fight, and we don't want to end up causing more pain and making each other more upset. So counseling is always a good way to do that and to make that more effective and easier. The last thing I want to say is to know again that there's no right or wrong. For some people, they choose to put the photos up. For some people, they don't. But allow yourself room to experiment with what does feel good for you. Some people that I talk to, that changes right by the month. 1 month, they might have all the photos up because that's what felt most comforting and most supportive to them in that moment. The next month, everything might have been gone. So know that this stuff is not static. You have room to change your mind. You have room to try out new things. But work with each other through this. So this stuff is hard and it's intense, but it is an opportunity to lean in closer to each other. So what's the good intentions of how you're each trying to protect each other? Where are the areas where maybe you do need to take a bit extra care of your own well-being and your own broken heart right now? And how do you take care of each other and keep each other close as you do that? So I think that these are good goals and good questions, and I hope that this has been helpful for you. So let me know. And if you're not already on my email list, come to lovelostproject.com. I have my free self-care kit there. And when you get that, then you also sign up for my emails where I share other videos, tips, and weekly support. So hopefully I will see you there. All right, take care.